Alright guys, Alex for Corbel Gaming here, and today I am giving you a Rainbow Six Siege beta review. It's the first time in a while I'm doing any sort of review, and I know the beta doesn't represent the final product, but it's given us the product as is, and I am reviewing that and not the overall product. So, let us begin. First, we are given a pretty simplistic options and info page. Maybe they'll expand it later in the actual game's release, but you know, as it is, it's very simple. It's just the options and quit to desktop, nothing major there. If we go on to the main tab, you've got gameplay. You can set your squad privacy, you can have the little ping option which is in game, so you can coordinate attacks a bit further, and you also have the HUD preferences. On the HUD preferences you've got different things like show hit indicator, reload indicator, health, weapon panel, etc, etc. Basically you can make your experience more cinematic, or you can have it as a regular FPS. On the next tab you have audio. You've got the subtitles. Subtitle is usually placed in gameplay or game, depending on game to game, but it's nice that they put it under audio for people that are maybe deaf, and it's there. Only problem is, with it not having a single player, there's not going to be too much talking. It's mostly just idle chit-chat over the radio, from friendly to friendly, or bad guy saying, "Oi, there they are!" Then you've got the master volume, the music volume, dialogue volume, you've got the dynamic range for anyone that uses surround sound, you've got hi-fi, TV, and night mode. Then you've got the voice volume, which, thank God, they added that, because by default it's on 100 and it is loud. And I mean, loud. It's a little too much. But you could also set your voice chat record level and your voice chat threshold, so your voice is projected lower. Many people may need to do that. And basically the threshold, it'll start picking up your voice when you talk to a certain level. So if you want to talk very quiet like this, it won't pick it up properly if you have it set to a lower setting, obviously, let's say about 50, and then when you project your voice nice and loud, it'll pick it up and project it to the rest of the team. So next, we have the display. Here you can set which monitor the game will run on, you can set your resolution. Obviously if your PC is worse, you can set it to a lower resolution, and if you notice, it will also change the amount of VRAM that it uses. Only a small amount, but that small amount could save you in performance. Adds a couple of frames. I know many other games, when I used to play them on my worst graphics card, the GT 610 by Nvidia, I used to lower my resolution to the lowest one I could, and it would give me like 30 frames just as was on stuff like Warframe, and I could set every other graphics option to high, and the game looks, you know, pretty nasty, but I was able to record pretty well as well. You've also got the display mode. You've got stuff like full screen, windowed, and borderless. Windowed borderless, sorry. Then you've got the refresh rate. You'd set that to your monitor's native refresh rate, but it never seems to actually notice my monitor has a 60 Hz refresh rate. Maybe that's a problem with LG and false advertising, but I think it's just the game not being able to pick up properly. You can also set your aspect ratio, which is nice, so you can lower it to an even lower resolution if you wanted to. Then you've got VSync, you've got sync to 1 frame and sync to 2 frame. Sync to 1 frame is just standard VSync. Then you have every 2 frame, which basically halves your refresh rate. So if I've got a 60 Hz monitor, it will sync to 60 on 1 frame, and if I put it to every 2 frame, I'll then have 30. You can also have widescreen letterbox, which allows you to have a more cinematic experience, apparently, quote unquote, and it basically just adds 2 bars to the top and the bottom of your screen. It hogs everything, and it doesn't look nice in my opinion, but hey ho, some people may want to make a cinematic out of it. Then you've got a field of view slider, which is nice. I have mine set to 90 because anything lower than 70 tends to fuck with my head unless I'm sat like on the other end of the room. You can also calibrate it, which allows you to set brightness. It would be nice if they added contrast and gamma, that way you could do a bit more fine tuning. Next, you've got the graphics. In here, you've got the overall quality you can set by default. You can choose from low, medium, high, very high, ultra, and custom. I can run the game on ultra at about 85 to 90 frames per second. I know that because I tested it beforehand, but when recording at that level I noticed that the playback on the video was weird, but that's due to my recording software and not the game itself. So I lowered a couple of things to medium, high, and I kept some of the other stuff like the texture quality on very high. On the next tab we have the controls. You can reduce the aiming speed, which is nice. So if you're aiming down sight and you want it to be a bit slower, I think it does it by half, so if you're not used to that, you'll have to watch out for that. You can change the look inversion, the mouse sensitivity. You can change what type of aiming style you have. You can toggle lean or hold. I left mine on toggle for now, but I'm going to change that to hold when I go on it later. You can change the sprint to be hold, the crouch to be toggle, prone to be toggle, etc. You can also customize your controls, and you can have like two different buttons for one control, which is also nice. But for those that want a more simplistic sort of thing, you can just keep it all to a single mapping. Dual mapping can be a bit frustrating. I know many times I've been there, like trying to use my primary, but I end up using my secondary, or I end up using my primary when I'm trying to use my secondary, and it can get a bit of a clusterfuck. Alright, so now on to the gameplay. Oh wait, what gameplay? That's right, half the time you are spent waiting in a lobby, hoping that someone will be found. Now, most of this, yes, with it being a beta, there's going to be a lot of people that have pre-signed up and gotten keys, and they're all trying to get on in one go. But Ubisoft, please, make sure that the game is playable before you open up a beta, even if it's a closed beta. Now, Battlefield 4 beta, I had very little problems when trying to find games. Yes, it crashed here and there when playing the game, but at least I could get into a game and shoot someone. Whereas on this, I spent about 30 minutes just going in and out, in and out, in and out of the matchmaking service, trying to find at least one enemy to play against. But they don't do that, they do it as a 5-man team. So, you know how difficult it was to try and actually get gameplay for this. I had to sit there for hours. Now, eventually when you do find someone, you may be greeted with a screen like this. It refuses to try and match you with an enemy team. That's right, it just makes you sit there for a while. Eventually, you come up to a screen like this where you do, where it does start searching for an enemy team. But, once again, they may or may not join. Sometimes you are met with this screen and it basically sets your ping, or max acceptable ping, to absolute dog shit. If it manages to get to the exception 4, and you find a game, you are most likely going to be playing with someone from the other end of the earth. So if you are from Britain, you'll be playing with someone from China. And you know what that does for your ping. It means people will be lagging around corners. Yep, lagging around corners. And you'll be there, shoot, 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 but they're on the other end of the doorway shooting at you. So you're being killed by someone that's mid-run. Now, eventually, you do find a game, and this is what you get. Now, the game offers a operator's selection. Now, you can choose between your recruit operator, and you've got a couple of others which I didn't have unlocked here because I didn't know how at this time. So I went with the default recruit, which has light body armor, but you can choose every weapon. I had already played a couple of times beforehand, so I already sorted out what I wanted. I wanted an assault rifle, simple pistol, and a stun grenade, and I think a frag. So you get to see what everyone chooses. You got Monarch, Fuse, Thermite, and Sledge. Now, for this gameplay, I had a lot of trouble actually getting in to start, since I was the attackers, or the SWAT. I was just left here staring at a screen for a little while, but eventually I was allowed in, and I had no idea what I was doing to start. I hadn't played on this map before, so I was wandering around like, the fuck am I supposed to be? Eventually, I ended up figuring out where I was supposed to be going, but it took a bit of time first. And basically, this is where you start to breach. It can be pretty slow paced to start, but you end up getting used to it. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing at this point. I just hoped for the best. I waited for everyone else to do their thing, and I slowly copied. Just hoping that I would find someone. I just continued to look around, reload, and that's just basically the game. You just breach a certain place and kill everyone. Or you can breach it and take control, or put the defuser on the bomb. There is supposed to be like hostage situations also, but I'm not sure when they're adding it. They may leave it for either an open beta if they choose to add one, or for the full game release if they're not doing a open beta. Then your teams will switch. You have the same operator's selection. I hadn't played as the defenders before, so I wasn't sure what to choose. I ended up going with an SMG for simplicity reasons. Skipping to the gameplay. Here, as the defender, you get to reinforce walls. I didn't actually know how to do that at the time. You get to place barbed wire around to slow the attackers down. If you select a certain class, you can add a generator, which basically shocks it. You have to destroy the cameras before they come up, and find and locate the place and locate your position. So it's always recommended to keep on the move, but always have that one hiding spot in place first, and just switch there when you get found. And it's just a waiting game at this point. You just wait them out, hope they don't come towards you. I placed down a shield thing earlier in hopes that it'd protect me, but at this death here, if you watch his camera, I was shooting at him and he shot me as he was running away, but on my screen he was still there, so you kind of understand the latency problem that I spoke about a little while ago. I think we ended up losing. Yeah, we did. They ended up winning. So, going as the attackers again, we breached from a different way, and I ended up doing fairly decent that time. I think friendly fire is on also, but I can't guarantee that. So overall, the gameplay, it's actually really fun. Even if the rounds only last 2 minutes, it's very similar to Counter-Strike, except you have, I think, up to 3 rounds each. So it's one of them games where you can just play a round or two before you go and do your homework or something. You don't have to really commit to it if you just want average, quick sort of gameplay. If you want to get more into it, you can obviously play more and more and more, and you get more renown. You can upgrade and buy more operators with that. But the gameplay's fluid, the mouse sensitivity, there's no jaggedness to it, it's just exactly where you point. The guns feel pretty decent. Obviously, you kind of get that odd feeling here and there where the bullet doesn't feel like it's actually hitting its target, even if your crosshair is right on it. like with before when the guy I shot ended up killing me. But that could be due to the latency, and it is beta, so I kind of understand that. Onto the other aspect of the game, which is the squad-focused or friend-focused terrorist hunt. Now, this is a nice addition to the game. It's straight back to the older Rainbow Six games, which featured terrorist hunt as well. And you essentially just run around and kill everyone on the map. The AI can come in 3 different flavors: normal, hard, or realistic. I only play on realistic just because it's a lot more challenging, and I think it enhances the gameplay more than what it would be running around on easy. The AI react a bit faster, but to people that not too good at FPSs, I would recommend a lower difficulty setting, because it does seem like complete bullshit half the time where you turn the corner and they are already pre-aiming you through the wall, as if they hear you, but it's the AI. They constantly have their eye on you, and if you turn the corner at that moment, you're going to be turned into Swiss cheese. In the small gameplay which I am featuring here, you can see me clearing the entire map of the terrorists single player on the realistic difficulty. It took a bit of time to do, but it was worth it. I had that sense of achievement afterwards. I have gameplay of me and Ashley also doing terrorist hunt and failing epically. But yeah, overall, I think this game has a lot of potential. The beta kind of put me off with the problems with the matchmaking, but if Ubisoft can get their head out of their arses, or the company that's actually doing it that Ubisoft is publishing the game for, if they can actually get them to get their head out of their asses and fix that problem, possibly add a server browser. There's no proper need for it, but if they can just fix the fucking matchmaking, because trying to get in there with Ashley on multiplayer was horrendous. We kept getting error codes, we kept getting dropped, we got put into 2 different fucking servers. Like, he was in one server and I was in another, and that was fucking hell. We ended up not being able to play, and we only had to play Terrorist Hunt. But yeah, like I was saying, the game has a lot of potential. It feels really good. It's well optimized, even for the beta. I had no problems with it. Then again, my rig is a mix and match of high-end stuff, like the graphics card, and the CPU is like mid to low range, with it being a 500 series i5, so that's like a first generation i5, I believe. But yes, I am definitely going to pick up this game, and I wouldn't recommend anyone else to pick it up at the state it was, but if you like SWAT sort of games, I would definitely keep it on the watch list. Just because of how I feel the beta was, kind of made me think not to pre-order it and get it at day 1 or 2 when other people have played it and the day 1 patch has come out or whatever. But yeah, out of the beta experience, I would give it about a 5 out of 10, just because of the amount of time I had to spend going in and out of the server browser or the matchmaking service trying to find an actual game to join. But the gameplay adds that 5, which was lost out of the 10 that was lost due to the matchmaking being broken. I think it would have been a bit more, but the latency problems knocked down, I'd say, about 4 points from that, because the gameplay is almost like a 20 itself, but then different problems here and there just knock it down. But yeah, if they can fix that problem, maybe do an open beta to show that they have actually fixed that problem, I'd be more inclined to recommend the game. But that's just my opinion. If you guys think anything different, please comment in the comment section below, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.